I was just gonna say that getting good at solving mysteries callback is the only thing that I've really achieved during pandemic. If I am getting vaccinated and we are slowly working our way out of this unprecedented moment, I haven't really accomplished anything. It's except for this. And God damn it.
Congratulations.
I know, right? There's something to be said about that. So I hope that, everyone, now that they can, get back to like their regular lives and start wiping their butts again and stuff, because now the toilet paper is available. I just hope that, you can continue listening to the International News Service now that the pandemic is officially over.
With a clean ass.
With a clean ass. I mean, that was
probably I think you'll like it more.
Dude, once I got that vax, I just walked right. It was because I got it at a supermarket, HEB, and I walked right down the aisle, and wouldn't you know it, they actually had toilet paper. And it was the first time that I got to wash, I got to use that stuff in a year, and it felt good.
You quit even checking. Like 11 months ago, you stopped looking.
Well, I mean, it was a year. It was literally a year ago. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
It was a year. Because everybody keeps going like, oh man, this time last year, I went to my last show that I was at for a year. Or like I hugged my grandma for the last time a year ago. And for me, the thing I was thinking, like, I wiped my ass for the last time a year ago.
So what have you been doing since then with your ass?
What everybody's been doing, just nothing.
Right.
You just leave it.
Seem like you make a conscious effort to really pull your ass cheeks apart.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably.
I mean, just like you guys, I'm sure.
Sure.
Just like everybody else, just like everyone, even all the top celebrities, your Kylie Jenners, your Giselle Bundchens.
Well, I've heard, Mike, that there's been a lot of, for the elite, there's been a lot of
like Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, for the elites, there have been a lot of elective colostomy bag insertions, just so people didn't. I mean, of course, right? That they.
Well, I mean, I guess again, another thing we have to be jealous about Hollywood elites about, and I think that a lot of the jealousy from the right about. It's jealousy is what it is when they're like, they're satanic blood drinking cabals. That's called jealousy. And guess what? Mom? It's an ugly color on you.
Well, be careful. She might unsubscribe.
We can't lose any more subscribers.
Yeah, no.
It's true.
You've continually alienated vast swaths of the U.S. and world population. Alaska.
Good.
Scotland.
Fuck them.
Scotland. No, that was Kevin got rid of Scotland.
I want to reach out to Scotland, hopefully get a peace accord going with the INS in Scotland. I think 3/4 of the news team, the INS team, has friendly relations with Scotland.
I've always thought very highly of the Scotch people.
I mean, my family immigrated from Scotland on my grandmother's side, and no, that's all I can say. I hate all those people.
You're a self-hating Scot. No, I think I've only alienated the Alaskans, and let's be honest, they probably have not. They do not have the internet. I question whether they have the written word yet, to be honest with you. They communicate with crude drawings using piss in the snow. That is as far as they've gotten.
It's a really dark time up there. They don't have the sun. There's one lonely person in Juneau that thought last week was a lark, and now you've just confirmed that. Well,
if there was a person from there, I would say, why don't you go move to a town that's not named after a shitty movie? Okay.
I apologize, Alaska.
Fucking kids don't talk like that. That high school kid would not know about Iggy Pop that well. I'm sorry.
That's good. I'm convinced that everyone who's ever listened to this is just Kevin Harrison with a VPN.
Comment.
That's what he does all week.
This is just a bold new era for the INS, where we're going to be going out. We're going to be doing investigative reporting on our own. We're going to be out there in the field. We are going to be tracking down leads. We're going to be getting our cameras and microphones in people's faces. We are going to find out where the big feets live. We are going to solve the JFK assassination. We are going to get to the bottom of who started the gluten allergies. Big things to come.
It's quite a promise. Okay.
Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
Welcome to the International News Service. I'm your host, Kevin Harrison, along with my co-hosts.
I'm Brian Camp.
I am Michael John Wiebe, and over there behind the giant wall of baffling and a glass cage of his own making is our producer, engineer, sound man, sound mixer, Mark Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys.
There he is.
Hey Mark, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, there he is. He'll probably cut that out, but whatever. We know he's there.
Well, let's get started with our first story here.
Do we need to reset for everybody and tell people what this is?
Well, it's like the Spider-Man, when Marvel finally got their hands on Spider-Man in the MCU, they just went ahead and fucked off with the origin story because they figured everybody kind of knows it by now. So,
yeah, how many Uncle Bens had to die before they could stop telling that story?
Enough to make the rice.
Anyway, our first story comes to us from the BBC,
right.
And the title is London Cat...
Hang on.
What?
I think
real quick, just because I hate to interrupt so early on, but there's been an ongoing issue with your stories. I think we've talked about it a lot, and I've been thinking about this. Mm-hmm. I know that we've got a story from the Bad Boy Club again. I know that they're based somewhere in either Liverpool or another British city. And that means this is going to be a story from Britain. And it means it might involve people from a country other than our own. And it might involve people that aren't you, Kevin Harrison. So please make sure for the listeners, for us, for everyone, because it's hard for me to kind of get into it. And I think it's hard for anyone hearing this. If you don't change your vocal tone to match the person who is being reported on, so we know that it's not you that it's happening to, or it's so easy to get lost. So just please make sure, if that were to happen in this story, please, Kevin, I'm begging you, please do it in a way that we understand and immediately recognize this is not you.
And just to follow up with that, I have been kicked in the head more than a few times by farm animals. You guys know this. I basically I've lived half my life on the back of a horse, and then I like to say, but I've lived the other half at the bottom of that horse, But I've been hurt a number of times, and part of my cognitive issues with some of those, I'll call them assaults by horses. A horse can assault you, is that I sometimes confuse when someone is telling a story from a first, second, third person. It gets a little jumbled in my head.
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest, a couple times it has freaked me out to the point, and again, this goes back to the horse kicks. I've gotten very upset when someone was telling me a story about, say that they're telling me the story of the John Benet Ramsey murders. And all of a sudden I get confused. I think that they are John Benet Ramsey, and I try to either save them or I try to knock them out, because I'm afraid they're going to get re-killed. It all gets a little jumbled. So if you could kind of lean in on just any way to differentiate that this is not you.
I could just say this story isn't about me.
Okay, well, that's not going to. Again, no. The injuries. I made it. I'm just to say I've made it over 8 seconds a number of times, but I've
great movie.
R.I.P. Luke Perry. But I've never.
A touchy subject for you. I'm sorry.
You guys know my PIN number is 90210.
I'm sorry you've been kicked in the head so many times by horses.
It was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
What did you get out of it?
I got pride, and I have a lifetime sponsorship from Stetson Cologne.
Wow.
Stetson Cologne, made from a man, smells like a horse.
Right.
Official sponsor of the INS, International News Service, Stetson Cologne. Have you been kicked in the head? Pour a little cologne on it. Stetson.
With all that being said, Kevin, if you could please get to the first story, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, the title of this first story is London Catastrophe Averted for Train Surfing Puss.
What's the name of it one more time? I just want to make sure I hear it. London
Catastrophe averted for train surfing puss.
Just be careful. You're going to confuse Mike. So
Okay. A high-speed train headed from London to Manchester was recently delayed when a cat was spotted on its roof 30 minutes before it was due to leave. The tabby stayed on top of the train for 2.5 hours and refused to move until staff pulled a bin next to the train, giving the cat its own stairs. These high-speed trains travel up to 120 miles per hour and are powered by 25,000-volt overhead lines, which would have spelled an end to the cat. Passengers were transferred to a nearby replacement train, and the cat was described as swaggering off with an air of having somewhere else to be. The station manager was quoted as saying, "Thankfully, curiosity didn't kill this cat. And we're glad it avoided using up one of its 9 lives."
That's one marble in your mouth, British man.
Yeah.
This pussy right now. This pussy needs to get off the lorry.
It's a frightening thing to hear.
Are we gonna skin it? Are we gonna skin the pussy?
Oh God! Can you imagine the crowd that had to just sit there and wait the whole time? Just the overhead chatter, like,
I've gotta be selling me dirty bits, and we're waiting on this pussy. We're waiting on this pussy, and I need to sell this pussy. I hope I don't get killed by Jack the Ripper.
No, they moved the crowd to another train.
Oh, madame, there are gentlemen present.
I'm sure that is exactly what was going on.
And then there's like a real gentle, like this sort of Bob Cratchit type that was just like, "Oh, we can't have a little fluff puss up upon the chim chim. Let's take him down."
I didn't know the British developed electric trains in Victorian times.
That's how they talk now.
Oh, okay. Well,
they've continued that.
I feel like we claim this too often, that something didn't really happen, and I'm sure a cat was on there, but I also am sure that someone placed that cat on there somewhere where they knew the cat would be fine. There was no chance it was going to get electrocuted by this 25,000 volts of overhead power. It was never going to happen. This is a stunt.
How would you put a cat on top of a train?
How do you put a cat on anything?
Exactly.
You pick it up and you place it there.
Yeah. The cat's like, no, I'm not doing this.
Or if you need to put it up somewhere high, use a catapult.
What?
Oh boy, I'm just as good as those fucking British headline writers now, aren't I?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Fuck the UK.
There it is.
I don't think we're getting the UK back.
Fuck the UK.
We might have just bolstered our Irish representation.
That's right. That's right.
I will say this: Ireland is now our 3rd most downloaded country.
Man, they're good people.
Yes,
exactly.
Right. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that note, our next story comes to us from the New York Post, and the title is first ever space hotel slated to be operational by 2027. A new company called Orbital Assembly plans to begin building a hotel called Voyager Station in low Earth orbit in 2025, with a planned opening as soon as 2027. The hotel's preliminary drawings show individual pods attached to a rotational ring with tubes forming an X inside the ring to connect the different sections. It looks kind of similar to a bicycle wheel with spokes, or maybe the space station where Jodie Foster lived in the movie Elysium. I don't think anybody actually saw that movie.
It starred Matt Damon, who was weaponized in that movie as well, if I recall.
No, that's the Bourne trilogy.
No, in Elysium, Matt Damon has a shaved head and he gets a metal skeleton on his back, and he I didn't watch it. I didn't see it.
I saw it. It's not very good. You know what? This is exactly why we can't do movie reviews, because I saw it. It wasn't that bad. Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't lower myself to watch that. Was it in one of your general audience theaters? No, I didn't see it. Assholes.
It just didn't happen to play at my screening room.
I'm sorry, you guys aren't assholes. It wasn't that good. You're right.
Anyway, it looks like that the space station in that movie.
Like a bicycle wheel.
Yeah, kind of like
spokes?
a bicycle wheel, but I mean, not a bunch of spokes, just like an X in the middle.
So will it have gravity or no?
Yeah, it will. We'll get to that in a second. So Voyager Station will have rooms for up to 400 people, themed restaurants, a health spa, a movie theater, gyms, libraries, concert venues, Earth viewing lounges and bars, crew quarters, and I'm glad the New York Post felt the need to include this in a story about a space hotel: air, water, and power. The hotel will circle the globe every 90 minutes, and its rotation will generate artificial low-level gravity similar to what you'd experience on the moon. As of this date, no construction costs have been revealed.
Have they made any ballpark figures of how much it would cost for a weekend stay there?
No, I was really curious about that. I tried to look into it, and it's going to be millions and millions of dollars. And then some portions of it aren't for rent as rooms. Like, they plan to rent out or sell portions to landlords to create like space villas to government so they can do training or have seminars or whatever in space.
Why is library pluralized?
Because there's going to be more than one.
One's for the adult sections, adult books.
It just seems like I don't know a lot about space or space travel, but it seems like habitable space is at a premium, and having more than one library might be inefficient, is all.
Well, I mean, also, if you're in space, I assume that you have an electronic device that's going to be able to access as many books as you could possibly need in that library.
I wish that existed.
How would you do that, though? I mean, what kind of future? We don't live in Elysium world, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't live in science fiction Elysium land where Matt Damon can get a metal bioskeleton shoved into his back and fight Jodie Foster in the clouds. We live on a nuts and bolts planet. Yeah, you could go into space, but then it's just like, fuck. You'd have to bring. What am I reading right now? I'm reading 4 Jack Grisham novels simultaneously, and then if I'm going to space, I got to bring my Bible. I've got to bring my copy of the Constitution. Well, Bible and Constitution are my 2 favorite books of all time.
What?
Constitution #1, Bible #2.
More than Grisham.
I mean, Grisham's great. No, nobody's knocking Grisham, but the Constitution is the greatest. How do I put this? I'll say Grisham is Las Vegas, but the Constitution is if you put Las Vegas inside Disneyland and then put that Disneyland inside Universal theme parks and then put that Universal theme parks inside Six Flags, all the Six Flags, even the ones with the weird roller coasters up north. That's how good the Constitution is.
Now, my question to you would be, would the Constitution apply in space? Because that seems to be a document only specific to the United States.
No. You're very wrong on that. The Constitution was written by the founding fathers. Yes, of course. They were all children of God. God came down and came in a bunch of women. They had they had babies. Those babies were the founding fathers. Obviously, they didn't call them fathers at the time. They didn't know. Yes, the Constitution was written by men, but those men were of God. So, that's why, like, the Bible, it's great. It's awesome, but there's no copy of the Bible that's signed by each of the original disciples. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Deuteronomy, Acts, and Psalms. Like, Psalms didn't go sign the Bible, like his section. Deuteronomy didn't go sign his section.
That's right.
Constitution, though, you get to the end of it, and it is just, you can see. I mean, it's their names are all right there. Anyway, so if you answer your question, if you are in space, you're floating around, you're flipping. You got one library, you go read the Constitution, and then you want to take a different vibe, go read the Bible in the other library. I think that probably the difference is when you go to the Bible library, it has like Jesus and Moses, but they're all wearing space helmets, like as the artwork in that library. But then if you go to the and they're all dressed up like Star Trek. But if you go to the Constitution library, they're all dressed up like Star Wars. It's all the founding fathers dressed like, like George Washington is Han Solo and Thomas Jefferson is Chewbacca because he's, and it's fun. I mean, it's going to be like a fun thing, I think, to like chill out and do your devotional studies in those libraries.
Who's Darth Vader in this scenario?
That would be the King of England.
King George.
Mm-hmm. Who is the person who hates Meghan Markle.
All comes around. Good job, Mike.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So for this is an audio cue. Don't leave this in. But for this next one, we're going to have a conflict. And just let it play out. And we'll see. I know how it's going to end.
You got to leave this in. This is the best part of the whole thing.
I hope our audience likes seeing how the pasta gets the sausage gets made.
The pasta gets made.
How does the pasta get made?
Yeah.
Oh, just water, warm water,
and flour. That's it.
Roll it through the thing.
Yeah,
a couple times sometimes.
I guess that's what you say when somebody doesn't want to know shit about what's going on. Look, I just want to see how the pasta gets made. Then I want to get out of here. All right.
So our next story comes to us from the Daily Beast, and it's Are you guys familiar with roller derby?
Yeah.
Okay, and
I know what it is.
Are you familiar with QAnon?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
and I haven't heard the two linking up of clasping forearms like Conan and Subotai, the assassin, but I think it's goddamn time that they do.
Well, you're in luck, at least in this one isolated case. One of the biggest brands in roller derby equipment is called Moda Skates. Last June, Moda stirred controversy for posting an anti-Black Lives Matter meme to their Instagram.
What does that look like?
Like what? Why would you fucking do that? That's
right. Is it a circle with a slash? I mean, is that
not? It's not a thing typically done by conservative Republican chicks,
right?
Like it's fringy lefty.
Well, the jammers are cool, but the blockers are.
That's true. I take it back. I just the blockers. Some of the blockers are kind of set in their old ways. That's true.
Right. Jammers very progressive.
Yeah, the blockers want to block progress quite literally. Quite literally.
Well, so many skaters responded to the post with negative comments, and several skaters sponsored by the brand broke their contracts with them. The owners responded with an apology on Instagram, but were still deleting critical comments. Many skaters found this behavior insincere, so shops stopped carrying their skates, and a GoFundMe raised $10,000 to help skaters of color replace their Moda skates. And that is when the whole thing descended into what one skate shop owner called a shop turn into what the fuck?
What is who is that?
Yeah, where was he based out of?
I appreciate. Yeah, I like the character, but
in an interview with Moda's co-owner Julie Glass, Glass said she and her co-owner husband sought to educate themselves, quote, on what was really happening on a worldwide scale.
If these roller skate magnets wanted to educate themselves, they really ought to listen to the International News Service, sponsored by Stetson Cologne. Look like a horse, smell like a man. Stetson Cologne.
So, like, I didn't know here if you wanted me to do a voice, because, like, I prepared a voice, but...
Well, fucking do it. Let's hear it.
Well, you should interrupt me. Well, let's do it again and then have you interrupt me.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt you. I want you to do it right the first time. That's what I want. I want this to be an operation that works.
It'll work better if you interrupt me.
Okay.
I'm slacking,
Mark,
and then Brian
better not take any of this out. All of this.
Yep. This is all gold.
People need to see what's really going on here. The tyrant.
Yeah. This is how the pasta
Kevin
gets
Harrison.
This is how the pasta gets made.
That's right. Hey, we're making the rigatoni.
Glass said she and her co-owner husband sought to educate themselves
Let's hear it.
on what was, unquote, what was really happening on a worldwide scale, unquote. She said,
who said this?
Julie Glass.
Is that what she sounds like?
Well, here's the thing: is she's from the Midwest, and I don't want to just like have a slightly. I listened to what her voice sounded like, and I don't want to just have like a slightly higher register on my voice, and it sounds like I'm making fun of.
She's a roller derby lady. She has a lower register than you. Let's get that straight.
Right.
But yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm making fun of her for being a woman when I'm making fun of her for her alleged really stupid ideas.
Right.
Well, thread that needle, baby.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, I mean,
I'll see what I can do.
if you're just impersonating someone, you're trying to do your best job. You're honoring them by demonstrating that you are not that person.
I just think that female voices should be heard. I just want to say that.
Thank you. It's about goddamn time somebody said that. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying I don't want to demean her with the fact that I have a very limited range here, and I don't want to demean her by trying to do her voice and just sounding like somebody doing a half-assed version of her voice.
All I know is that you just
don't sell yourself short.
It's like a week out since International Women's Day. It feels like if you are acting like it is 6 months out.
All right, well, I'll see what I can do. Glass said she and her co-owner husband sought to educate themselves, quote, on what was really happening on a worldwide scale. She said they, quote, found many alarming truths that are worth fighting for, like the global pandemic of child/women trafficking and modern-day slavery, organ harvesting, etc.
Yes, you are clearly making fun of this person for being a woman.
Yeah,
that is awful, Kevin.
Why are you making her sound like
you can't do that?
Why are you making it sound like a prostitute on a British railway?
I don't know. I'm just, this is QAnon, where we go one, where we go all. They all have this voice.
I don't think they do. I think they all sound like...
Who did the research here?
Well, there you go.
Well, I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I thought maybe she would have more of a strident voice, more of a...
No, she had this voice. This was her voice.
Did you hear her? do you know what she sounds like?
Yeah, listen, I looked her up on YouTube, and Moda has some promotional videos up on YouTube, and I played a couple.
Moda.
And this was her voice.
I'm surprised that there's an equipment manufacturer that is specific to roller derby when the equipment seems to be what anyone would wear in any sport, like roller skates.
There are stores, there are shops, I promise you, in your town that sell roller derby equipment only.
It's hard to imagine those surviving a pandemic. If the Mage's Sanctum shut down, then...
I know, that's
what
true.
What is the Mage's Sanctum?
You're about to hear...
Only the greatest source in town for all of your role-playing needs and for kidding, they've got Legos, they've got role-playing games, they've got Magic the Gathering cards, they've got Pokemon cards, they've got Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Have you ever had a case where it's 7:38, 9? It's 9:35 p.m. on a Wednesday, and you're like, "Fuck! I need to get a Violator from Spawn action figure
every week."
I mean, who knows? Maybe it's the McFarlane Twisted Dark Wizard of Oz series, and you have to. I don't want to overblow it, but they saved my life a number of times.
Do you have all those action figures?
Yeah. I mean,
you got them from the Mage's Sanctum.
Some of them, but some of them I was like, oh, fuck, I need this now, and I went and got it. But I have like just a study room that's just dedicated to copy of the Constitution, and then all my Todd McFarlane figures, all just kind of like all over.
Now, do you have founding father figures in there?
Todd doesn't make those yet, but I've actually started a letter writing campaign, which I would actually like you guys to all get. I could use your John Hancocks, as we say, and the Constitution. But I would really, that's kind of like the end game piece, is to get, McFarlane. I want to get McFarlane to do the Founding Fathers, and then I also want to get Todd McFarlane to do his own, him doing is the Constitution, and it'll be laid all out like that, but it'll like the letters will be kind of like tough, like more like medieval kind of looking, and then there'll be like pictures of Spawn kind of crawling up the margins and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Todd McFarlane is Canadian.
Sometimes you have to separate the art from the artist.
That was a good moment to say something nice about Canadians. But
I love Canadians.
We implied that that's something we have to get past.
I mean, well, only in this constitutional case. I think I think Canada is a fine place. But I mean, like if Rob Liefeld was like trying to do the Constitution, it'd be like, and he was from Canada, and I was like, oh, you're from another country and you're bad at art, then no.
So one strike, you're gonna go.
Oh God, I just lost Rob Liefeld as a listener. He's great. He made a lot of money off of Teenage Mike.
He could draw muscular people real well, right?
No,
he couldn't. Oh, he could draw. He could draw.
If by muscular you mean he made up muscles that didn't exist and then made them 6 times larger than they would be if they did exist.
If it's about somebody with superpowers, can you really complain about something being in the comic that doesn't exist?
Can and did. I mean, 25 years ago, but still.
Well, there you go. All right. Question answered. Still mad about it.
Moda has cataloged over 50 Instagram stories with the title Restore Republic, encouraging anti-mask, anti-vaccine, and QAnon conspiracies. For example, one story highlighted an osteopath who believes the COVID vaccine will change DNA and, quote, hook us all up to an artificial intelligence interface.
They're all British.
Where we go one, where we go one, we go all. They all talk the same. No, that's a QAnon phrase.
That's not a British phrase.
They stole it from Battlestar Galactica, actually.
Oh.
Maybe there's something to this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. The new one, not the Lauren Green.
Yeah, I know. I know. Katie Sackhoff. I stood in line for 4 hours to get her autograph at WizardCon, and then I chickened out. I was two people away, and I chickened out. I already spent $100 to do it too. But so I'm a little bit more interested in this QAnon now.
So Moda also promoted the hashtag Save the Children, reposting memes about the QAnon conspiracy that the world is run by a cabal of satanic Democrats and celebrities who torture and sexually abuse children and also extract adrenochrome from the tortured children, which is sold to elites on the black market.
What is adrenochrome?
Did you never read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
It's actually the ingredient in sugar-free Red Bull, not regular Red Bull, but it's in sugar-free Red Bull.
That's why only elite people drink sugar-free Red Bull.
I will refrain from asking any more questions. I've learned my lesson. Please continue.
No, what is it? Adrenochrome supposedly is, like squeezins of an adrenal gland, And does it make you young, or does it make you virile, or does it make you like jump real far?
It makes you just super like overloaded and hyper. But to where you can't, to where you're basically non-functional, is my understanding.
But the truth is, like, it's not a real thing, right?
Yeah, no, it's like Hunter S. Thompson made it up, basically.
Yeah.
Well, but wait, JFK had Addison's disease, meaning he didn't have a functional adrenal gland. So maybe that's where all this started.
He had sex with Marilyn Monroe.
Right. Who was silenced.
Who had sex with Joe DiMaggio, who pitched for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. And somehow was related to Mr. Coffee.
Oh, wow.
Which is a caffeine product, which could be construed to the same thing as adrenochrome, as a replacement for JFK's missing adrenal gland. That didn't work over time, or he built up a tolerance. And now the Democrats have been working to prolong the JFK legacy, who's probably frozen. He wasn't assassinated. He was frozen.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was shot and they cut off the head and they froze that because they knew that they could, using Walt Disney technology that Disney Corporation had made.
Yeah, he's in a vat of adrenochrome.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to cut this part. We can't let this get out because if the world knows this, it's going to be too much.
Well,
I think they already do know because they've been monitoring my thoughts. I've been hearing radio signals in my own head.
Radio
Anything
signals.
Good, like
that was almost your Jello Biafra voice.
Radio signals in my head.
Wait, was that Jello Biafra, the guy from the B-52s?
I saw the cramps inside of a sanatorium while a woman gave birth. Walter Mondale's at it again.
When asked why Moda espoused support for free speech online, while also deleting comments that did not align with its viewpoints, Julie Glass stated, quote, "It's because we do not have time or energy for negativity. We are at war. This is a spiritual battle of good versus evil. We have the right to remove evil/hate comments that have no place on our page." Julie Glass would not reveal if the brand's public support of conspiracy theories had impacted their business, but Moda itself is a rebranding of their prior business enterprise, Atom Gear, which went bankrupt in 2015.
Well, this kind of reminds me of when you know those shoes, Heelys. They're like shoes with a wheel in the back that kids roll on.
Right.
You remember when they came out and they were really pro female circumcision? And that's kind of what killed their brand. That's
oh yeah, Heelys.
That's kind of a big part of it. That and all those kids died wearing Heelys because their Genco jeans got wrapped up in it and they fell
right.
down a escalator in a mall.
When their dads picked them up for their Thursday night meal at Luby's and or Wyatt's.
Yeah.
They all got hurt wheeling around the restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the frayed ends of those Genkos got wrapped up in that wheel and just took a header straight into the corner of a table.
Oh,
just some dad trying to have some quality time with his son and get some intel on mom's new boyfriend, and it ended in tragedy.
I feel like you're talking about, you really know this story really well. Like you're talking about yourself.
Look, I take care of my kids.
Right.
What are their names?
Cal Drogo and Legolas.
That is unfortunate because there are likely 2 children with those names, and they probably are brothers. I am imagining Mike uttering the phrase, "I don't know what that bitch is complaining about. I pay the child support. What she's spending that money on." Like that's, I can see.
I didn't call her the B word.
We'll get, okay.
I did. No, it's more just, I mean, what's he like? He's cool, he's just a cool guy. I mean, I don't care. Cal Drogo, sit down. Sit down. Legolas, quit wheeling around. Yes, you can get some more Jello. But anyway, this guy, what's his deal? I don't care. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. But what What kind of cars he drive? No, no. Yeah, a red one. I get that, but like, what's the make and model? I got a son that can't even tell me what year a Prius he drives. It's a Prius, right? I bet it's a Prius. Oh, it's got to be a Prius. Well, we solved that one.
Well, our last story comes to us from the Smithsonian. Scientists have discovered 3 species of glowing shark in the deep ocean near New Zealand. The kitefish shark, the black-belly lantern shark, and the southern lantern shark. The kitefish shark glows a cool blue, and at nearly 6 feet in length, it is now considered the largest known species of luminous vertebrae on Earth. These sharks inhabit the ocean's mesopelagic or twilight zone.
That's why it's on here, because it's from the twilight zone.
Yeah.
Exactly. These sharks inhabit the mesopelagic or twilight zone, which spans depths of 660 feet to 3,300 feet below the surface. Bioluminescence is relatively common among fish and squid in the deep sea, but it's rare in sharks anywhere. What's strangest here may be that most bioluminescence in deep sea creatures involves a chemical called luciferin that glows when it interacts with oxygen, but these sharks produce light some other unknown way.
Luciferin is the same chemical that they put in vaccines. Did you guys know that?
I've read that.
Yep.
It probably renders the adrenochrome in a state that's easier to extract, I think.
Yeah.
Luciferin, it marks the adrenochrome.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that it's a big the satanic elite are very excited about luciferin.
The liberal satanic elite. The Republican Satanists are very low rent.
They do not like the Republican Satanists are actually some of the chillest motherfuckers you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a satanic chemical called luciferian that's in these glowing sharks.
No, it's in everything that glows in the deep sea except these sharks.
Whoa.
Scientists speculate that the shark's glow could make them harder to see from below, since prey looking up can see a faint glow from the surface of the water above them. One researcher stated, who I'm going to assume is from New Zealand, "We hope by highlighting something new in the deep sea, deep sea of New Zealand, glowing sharks, that maybe people will start thinking we should protect this environment before destroying it."
That is not what people from New Zealand sound like. I don't think.
There was a toy line called Street Sharks.
Oh, I remember that. Cartoon too.
I don't know. Maybe this is what this is all about. Is just honestly, this sounds like guerrilla marketing for a Street Sharks movie. And in this day and age, you got to do whatever you got to do to get your name out there. And in this case, the producers is probably some people over at Amblin or New Line or something. We're like, what are we going to do? Let's get the trades talking by putting an article in Smithsonian Magazine. Mm. And this is just a typical way of indoctrinating our kids into buying more plastic toy merch. I work my ass off to keep these 2 mouth breathers rolling around and shoes that roll and shark toys that glow. And all I hear about day in, day out is I need the new shark toys. I need to roll around. And I take them to Luby's and I can't even, and now one of them can't talk. And, the wife says it's because of the head injury. I'm saying it's because the vaccines that have luciferion and also have autismanol in them, which is what causes the specific thing that causes autism. And she's not listening to me, and she's hanging out with some fucking, I don't know, he does CrossFit or something like that, and all he does is his whole Instagram feed is just him fucking working out by a lake, him running, and it's just like, you know what? It's just like, fuck this guy. Fuck, you know what? This Chad. Hey, Chad. Fuck you, Chad. And that's why I don't really care for glowing sharks.
That's interesting.
I'm sorry, guys. Like, I hate to end this on a downer, but I'm really emotionally wrought. Man, I know I brought my stuff into this episode, and I didn't mean to do that. It's just all these stories were weirdly connected to a lot that's been going on in my life. So, yeah.
Well, if you ever want to get away for a while, just let me know.
I can come over?
No, not here. I'll find you a spot. We'll help out. Yeah. But no, not here.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.